Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we make custom coins. I guess you could call my company a mint because we make a lot of custom coins. Now these are obviously not real currency coins. They're generally wood. We do a couple of that are metal. I just haven't launched them on the site or done any videos about them yet, but that is coming. Now the nice thing about wooden coins is that the diversity of the designs that we can do. And what I mean by that is not just what we can engrave on them, we actually make the blanks. So for instance, here is a little coin. So this happens to be plywood. This is a little bit less than 1/4 inch, but we can make them out of plywood, we can make them out of oak, we can make them out of poplar, we can make them out of pretty much anything. Now every wood has a plus and a minus. The nice thing about plywood, the furniture grade plywood we use for making custom coins, is that it's got a very clean surface on the front and the back. So when we do the laser engraving, we have a very high contrast. As opposed to, let's say, oak, which is a darker wood, and it's, again, solid oak. It's not a plywood oak. And that when we laser engrave it, you have a darker laser engraving, but you still have a darker coin. And of course, we can finish that. Poplar is a little bit of a lighter color. It's closer to the plywood I just showed you. And for that one there, again, the same sort of design approaches happen on the front or the back. When it comes to making custom coins, I could literally make them out of any size, any shape, any sort of design profile. One thing you have to keep in mind though, if you want some aspects cut through, they need to be supported just like a stencil would, so otherwise inside parts would fall out. Now what you see here is, these are planks that I made here in the shop. I believe this is oak, and again, the name on there says oak, so that's why I'm assuming it's oak. It's been a while since I made these coins. Now you notice all of them are completely round. Another option, if you wanted to, we can actually give it a bit of a texture like real coins. So we could give it like a serrated edge. It's not sharp, obviously, but just something that's very easy to grab and hold if you want to make these for a child. Of course, they'd have to be bigger so they can't choke on them. And when it comes to making single-sided or double-sided, it doesn't really matter. You could basically use the same cutouts that we use to make these coins. We just flip them around and we can actually laser engrave the back of them. So it's a pretty straightforward process to make single-sided or double-sided coins. Now when it comes to making custom coins, basically any option you want we can actually make for you, including volume. So if you want 20 coins or you want 2,000 coins, it's the same process regardless of how many we make. Now when it comes to sizing as well, they could be literally any size, but from experience I find generally 3/4 inch is the smallest you want to go, and the size bigger, 5-6 inches, that's fine. That's not a problem for us here. Now when it comes to laser engraving onto them, you want to make sure you have a high contrast bitmap, high contrast vector, and what I mean by that is you want a black and white image. If you have color in your image, it just won't come out because the laser is either on or off. There's no in between, because either you're making charcoal, which is what the contrast you see is on the coins, or you're not creating charcoal. So that's something to keep in mind. What you'll notice here is during production, you'll notice some of the coins sort of shift a little bit. And the reason for that is pretty straightforward. There's compressed air shooting down from the laser head, and it just happens to fit in that little slot all the way around the jig. That's maybe what, 1/32, and just enough, a little bit of air gets down there, and then it just sort of hovers. And as it goes over and over again, it just sort of shifts it around. The air basically just gets trapped underneath, and then it just sort of builds up. This happens every once in a while, but it's not a big issue because I overproduce the coins to begin with. So I make too many that are one-sided, then I go through them at triage. Some of them are not good, just happens to be, there's a knot, or there's some discoloration in the wood, or what have you. And then when you flip them around, you do this kind of work, and then another triage happens where, some of these things are rejected. Now, every once in a while I get a customer asking me if I do paint filling on the wooden coins. And the answer to that is no. The reason for that, one, it's very cost ineffective to do because it's such a small area. And the second reason is the paint tends to seep through the grain, especially if you have a smaller coin. So if you have something like this here, this is a little bit more than 1/8 or a little bit less than 1/4 inch, somewhere in between. Now what happens, we're laser engraving the front and the back generally, we're doing double-sided coins. So what we're doing is we're creating depth here, and we're creating depth here. So this weakens the structure, but it also means that if we add paint and other things to it, they tend to want to bleed from one side to the other, so it just becomes a mess. So if you want sort of color coins, the best option actually is just to get, contact some company that makes UV printed coins, and that's the only way to actually do it. I don't have a UV printer here in the shop, and I'm looking at the technology, but there's not enough volume or demand for that investment to happen. So if you're looking for custom coins, any size, any shape, any material, contact me at CNCKing.com. We'll make it for you and ship it right to your door.